others that I haven't drawn any attention to yet. And we have one up here, flower in the making. Now, is this the sunflower or the daisy? The sunflower? Okay. And then over here, we have a daisy in the making. And some of you who are here near the beginning of Lent, Ethan and Noah received little kits with some seeds and the dirt, and it was their job to take them home and see if they could take care of these flowers. And you've done a really nice job. And I hope that you've enjoyed taking care of them and seeing them when the seed first pops up and how amazing that is. And sometimes I wonder we start to take it for granted. We just assume we plant some seeds and they're going to grow. At least we hope so. But there's something really amazing that happens. And when you think about the difference between a seed and then what it might become, and how there are so many ways that this image of a flower can really speak to us about life, about the changes that we might go through. And I don't know if you could even think maybe taking care of a flower, you might wonder how God thinks of us, watching us grow and change, and how sometimes if we maybe have the seed mentality, we don't see the goodness and the potential that can happen. But God can see all of that. Now, flowers don't have minds or thoughts as much as we know anyway, but I thought if a flower could think, I wonder what it would be thinking about, or any seed that grows. And all those changes that happens, I mean, it would be scary. Change is sometimes scary and frightening. Maybe worry about the weather or insects. When I asked Ethan this morning in Sunday school if he thought we were like flowers at all, he said something I thought was really smart. And I hope you don't mind my saying it, but he thought we were like flowers or like plants because we're fragile. We're fragile too. And we do have those kinds of fears and anxieties when things change. And I couldn't help but think of the disciples that morning, Easter morning, how scared they were still, witnessing what they did and the women during the crucifixion. And then all that darkness and waiting all of Saturday, that day after, waiting, wondering. And then finally, Easter morning comes, and the angel is there. And does anyone remember what the angel said? Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. And how beautiful that is. Do not be afraid. And does anyone remember where we've heard that before? Where have we heard that before? Yes, the Christmas story. And that was something I had never thought about before. Isn't it interesting and fascinating that at the beginning of the Lord's life, the angels tell Mary, the shepherds, even Joseph, do not be afraid. And at the end of the story, what we know of Jesus' earthly life, we have the same message. Do not be afraid. Now, what is the difference, do you think, between those 2 points? Those 2 times? This has been something I've been thinking about or wondering about this week. And of course, this would be natural if an angel appeared to you suddenly, that you would just experience fear. I mean, I think I would. I don't know what I would do, That would be such a shocking experience. But maybe it also speaks to something else. And it's interesting, as I heard someone say it, maybe what the difference is between those 2 times is the humble knowledge that occurs between them. The story of Jesus, his ministry, the healings, everything that he has to say turns our expectations upside down. During his life, so much is about, before his coming, it was very accepted. Classes, there's the Pharisees, the scribes, there's maybe, you have all kinds of people maybe looking down on other people, rulers, a kind of hierarchy. And everything that Jesus talks about, cooperation, partnership. Think about how the Creator of the world, the Creator of you and me, came and wanted to wash feet and serve and be a friend. And part of this partnership, we know, isn't about just a one way. God does give all the time, but the way that it really makes a difference is if we want it as well. And so it's a partnership and cooperation. And how interesting is it that the women are searching for Jesus? They're searching. It's always Jesus that finds, but they are searching. And then it says Jesus met them. And that image in our own relationship. That word, resurrection, it literally means standing up. To stand up. And I wonder if we might not just remember that part of this life, the resurrection life, what happens afterwards, is now all about the living of this humble knowledge. That we would rise up, we're caused to rise up in our mind all these beautiful teachings. And that we might, that might be Jesus rising up in us and living that resurrection life. And we have the knowledge. Now the question is, how are we going to go about living with it? And there's a verse I just want to read from Revelation 20. It says, "Blessed and holy are those who have a part in the first resurrection." Blessed and holy are those who have a part in the first resurrection. So these were the first witnesses still writing about what a difference it made to know that Jesus lived and what it meant to then bring those teachings into our daily living. And it makes a life blessed and holy. And this is what we can have a part in now. And that we can bring these teachings and help us, even though we know that the world isn't perfect yet. And how much do we need in our own life a resurrection faith or a resurrection life? There's so much in the news that is hard to hear. And if we can face it, living out these teachings, rising up, helping these teachings, Jesus himself rise up in our life. And we can find peace, which is ultimately maybe what we're missing if there's fear. That peace would be there. So let us seek to live a life and do not be afraid of what we approach in life and what comes to us. If we can take the lessons that we've learned from Jesus' life and make them live again. May this be one of the many lessons of Easter Sunday.